Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Wednesday, the 21st day of September 2022. I hope you're all healthy and safe today. I hope that you and your family are healthy and safe, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food and shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in the healthcare field and the first responders, whose job it is every day to save lives. And those that pick up garbage for us to keep streets and sidewalks and highways and parks clean. And those that make deliveries of things like food for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women that are out here trying to help rescue and deliver the teenagers and children that are the victims of child molestation and pedophilia. Also the victims of pornography, child pornography, prostitution, child prostitution, human trafficking and sex slavery. And double curses on those perpetrators, those profiteers, and those perverts who are out here trafficking in human misery. Finally, blessings upon the homeless. Nearly 600,000 men, women, and children with no roof over their head today in the United States, and millions around the world in similar or worse conditions, and blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. I want to start out today because I was looking at Ian Begley. I'm always looking. When I look for Knicks news, I look at Ian Begley, Shams, and I look at Wojnarowski. And the other two, the latter two, don't come out with as much news as Ian does because Ian covers the Knicks. When it's a major thing that's, news for the whole NBA, Wojnarowski and Shams will come out with it. But generally, Ian Begley is the guy that I follow. And in some instances and in some cases, I almost think Ian Begley's kind of like a mouthpiece for Madison Square Garden and for the Knicks front office. Just as I think Berman is a lot of the mouthpiece for Tom Thibodeau. So yesterday, I'm looking at Ian Begley, and he brought out of his mailbag on SNY something about Cam Reddish. And I wanted to listen to this and take a look at this situation as far as Cam Reddish is concerned, because it could be big, depending. We'll talk about it after we listen. Let's listen to what he said.
Got a question here from Kivy. Kivy wants to know, barring another player getting moved, it seems like Cam Reddish is the odd man out of the rotation. You think it's likely that he is still here when the season starts? I think that
So again, this is a question that a lot of people had asked in Knicks Nation about Cam Reddish. Some people have pegged him as the odd man out, and it makes sense based on, for example, what was said about Fournier with Grimes and all of that. But Ian says something very interesting here. Listen.
There's a couple different ways to look at this situation with Cam Reddish. I know that there are people within the organization that would like to see him in the rotation, getting minutes. We know that Tom Thibodeau and the staff, they did not give Cam Reddish minutes right off the bat after he was traded to the team last year. Some injuries happened. He got a chance to get regular minutes, and then he got hurt. Now, this year, Jalen Brunson, Evan Fournier in the backcourt. I know that there were some people who were concerned about the defensive capabilities of that potential starting backcourt. I think that's where Reddish comes in. If there's a way for Reddish to get into the rotation, because Evan Fournier is out of the starting five. Does RJ Barrett move to shooting guard, and Reddish moves into starting position? I don't know. I would think that though options are on the table in terms of what that starting lineup is going to look like, and depending on how that shakes out, maybe Cam Reddish finds his way into the rotation. But there's no direct path for him right now, and to me that's a little bit strange again, because you trade protected first Kevin Knox for Cam Reddish, a talented player, and you would think that he's going to get minutes at some point with this team. Well, let's see what happens.
So that's important. Very important. A couple of things. It was brought out, he said all options are on the table. He also brought out again how there's concern within the Knicks organization about a Brunson Fournier backcourt defensively. Okay. And that's been brought up multiple times already now. He also brought up the fact that the Knicks traded a protected first round pick in Kevin Knox to obtain Cam Reddish. So with all of these things in mind, there's definitely discussions going on internally about Cam Reddish. He has not been traded. I thought he would be traded because it's a contract year. If the Lakers were interested in him, he would get playing time with LeBron James, chance to win the championship, chance to, most importantly for him, get paid over the long term. But that didn't happen, at least not at this point. Okay. So that leads me to other things. Let's look at some other factoids, not speculation, factoid. Cam Reddish has spent all summer working on the game and working on his body. Period. He's been seen at Tarrytown up in the facility all year, all summer, I mean. So he has worked hard to get in shape. Ian Begley has reported that he is in fabulous shape right now, that he's ready to play. Okay. Those are factoids. So now, let's add these all together. Let's add the facts. Cam Reddish spent all summer in New York getting ready for the season. He's in fabulous shape by all accounts. The Knicks traded a protected first-round pick and Kevin Knox to obtain him. Okay? And let's add in another factoid that we're going to see how it plays out, but it could be very important. We know that Cam Reddish and R.J. Barrett played together at Duke. That it was Cam Reddish, R.J. Barrett, and Zion Williamson, the big three that they got in that freshman class. We know that Cam Reddish and R.J. Barrett are friends. We know that R.J. Barrett just signed a $100+ million extension. What we don't know, and what we're going to find out, is how much juice does RJ have with both Thibodeau and the front office. Why did I say that? Because it would make sense that RJ wants the Knicks to keep Cam Reddish. It is obvious that they have kept Cam Reddish. That up until this point, they have not traded him, and they had all summer to do so. So they have not traded him. He has spent all summer in New York. He went to school with R.J. Barrett and is friends with R.J. Barrett. And let's add some more factoids. He's talented. He's a talented young player. What's his ceiling? We don't know because he's been injury prone. Okay, he has been. So we don't know. We also know that the Knicks are concerned with a Fournier-Brunson backcourt that has been brought up several times. So, and this is the second time that Ian Begley has said the words Fournier not in the starting five. Or there'll be changes to the starting lineup. And he mentioned Fournier. This is the second time he's done that. Okay? And remember, and I'm speculating in this part, he could be speaking for Madison Square Garden on the DL. Okay? Because Ian don't come out with just stuff that's speculative. Generally, when he says something about the Madison Square Garden, it's about to happen. All right. With those things in mind, 2 weeks ago, maybe it was 2 weeks ago, we did a poll when we did a live broadcast on one of the Sunday broadcasts that we have been doing recently. We did a live broadcast and we did a poll. Who would you like to see starting on the wing? And by a long margin, Cam Reddish and R.J. Barrett were the winners. There was over 100 votes. And it was like 70, 90%, something like that. Cam Reddish and R.J. Barrett. And I agree with that. See, I've been saying all along that Grimes is going to be starting at 2. And the reason I said that, not because I think it's the best for the team, because I think he's better at that position for what we're doing than Fournier, number one. And number two, I know Tom Thibodeau is not going to put up with the defensive effort that came last year with Kemba Walker and Fournier. It's not going to happen. Grimes is a way better defender, light years better defender than Fournier. Light years. It's not even close. Okay. And so while Fournier is in his prime and he can shoot the rock, he can shoot the lights out, no doubt, Grimes has potential upside to be just as good a shooter in the future. And he can at least hold his own now. So he's a better two-way player right now. He has potential to be a way better jump shooter, spot up shooter, okay, 3-and-D shooter than Fournier. So I figured for Grimes, just by those things, and the fact that Tom really pushed to draft him, and then he started some games last year as well. And so I was thinking Grimes could start. But I also believe, which we have talked about, that the most talented, the best wing rotation for the Knicks would be Cam at the 3 and RJ at the 2. And Ian just mentioned that. Cam at the 3, RJ at the 2. For a number of reasons. You have a 6'1" Jalen Brunson, who's a scrappy player. He's not a guy that's just going to let somebody roll by him. He's a scrappy fighter type dude at 6'1". But he is 6'1". But you can't put Fournier next to him, even though Fournier's 6'7", because Fournier doesn't play any defense. But you can put a 6'4" Grimes next to him, or even better, 6'7" RJ Barrett next to him. Okay. And RJ plays defense. RJ plays really good defense. He's just been guarding. Some of y'all got all messed up because he was guarding the best player on the other team all last year. And he was getting toasted sometimes. But this is the best player that he's guarding. Okay. Okay. So you put him with Cam, who is a really good defender and has length. And you put Cam at the 3. You put RJ at the 2. Now you don't have a problem with your defensive backcourt. You don't have a problem. Okay? And with that, your mob deep becomes Obi Toppin, Manuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, Derrick Rose. Okay? Your mob deep, Isaiah Hartenstein. Your mob deep becomes, wow. And your starting unit now, Tom goes back to his habits of playing the starting unit in the fourth quarter, regardless of how Mobb Deep plays. We ain't going to be hurt this time. Because now we got Brunson in the point guard, and we got Cam on the wing with RJ. I'm thinking that's pretty good. So I guess what I'm saying overall is this little broadcast by Ian gave me some hope that possibly Cam Reddish could start. Now, the thing is that what I'm looking to see, and this is one of the hypocrisies with Tom Thibodeau. He said, you earn everything you get around here. But he doesn't mean that with everybody, right? Because certain players can mess up all the time, and he looks the other way, like Julius Randle. And then certain players then commit one turnover and never see the court for 3 games, like Deuce McBride. So it depends on who you are, if that applies. But if Cam Reddish is in the shape that Ian reported, and I think Berman also reported it, that he's in really tremendous shape. If he's in that type of shape coming into training camp, and if I'm correct in that I believe he's the most physically talented player on the Knicks, and he comes into camp in that kind of shape, I have to believe it's going to be seen. Like, in other words, I believe firmly that the cream rises to the top. If you're really all that, it will come out. Especially in the NBA. If you're really all that and you get put on the court, it's going to be seen. And in training camp, everybody's on the court. There's nobody sitting unless you're hurt in training camp. So when Cam Reddish hits the floor next week in shape and fighting to get his rotational spot, I got to believe it's going to be seen that he's head and shoulders above anybody he's playing against. I believe that. Because you put him at the 3 with Brunson, you're opening up the door to some stuff, man. Okay? This is not him playing 15 minutes. If you're starting him and you're giving him 30 minutes on a contract year, this could mean a whole thing. Now, it's all up to Thibodeau. And I don't know what Tibbs is going to do. We can guess. Okay, we know he likes veterans, but look, RJ's in his 4th season, and so is Cam Reddish. They're veterans. Mitchell Robinson's in his 5th season. Okay, these guys are veterans now. So we're gonna see. We know he likes veterans, but he also likes results, and he likes to win. He's not going to be able to ignore Cam Reddish. He's not going to be able to ignore him unless Cam Reddish does something to tick him off, and that would be Tibbs getting himself fired, to be honest with you. This first 60 games of this season, 60, really the first 40 games, first half of this season is going to determine whether he's a Knicks coach for the second half of the season. Okay, so even though they did exercise the options on him, so he's getting his full 5 years, but this is his 3rd season. This here is going to determine a lot, this first 40 games. People are watching him in front office, particularly, World Wide West wanted him out last year. So they watching him. He can't mess around this year. He's got to win. And if you're going to have a backcourt of a RJ and Brunson, and then have a guy that could really capably play that 3 spot in Cam Reddish. See, with Obi Toppin or Julius Randle, some people have speculated because Julius lost all his weight, maybe he plays the 3. That's not his natural position. 4 is his position. Same with Obi. Cam is a 3. Cam has played 4, and that's not his natural position. But 3 is. He played the 2 at Duke. He can play the wing, basically. And so you're putting a guy that's playing his natural position at 23 with all the upside in the world, in shape. And I'm saying, if they do that, top 6. I don't care what anybody else is doing or how good anybody else got. If you start Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, Cam Reddish, Mitchell Robinson and Julius Randle, if you start them, top 6. And then you have a bench of Obi Toppin, Derrick Rose, Isaiah Hartenstein, Emmanuel Quickley, Quentin Grimes, and then you still got Deuce and Jericho. Top 6. Top 6. And I didn't mention Fournier on the bench either, because I don't know what they're going to do with him. But if you had him on the bench too, top 6. I don't know who else going to fall out, but that's not my problem. That's their problem. Because the Knicks will be coming. Okay? I'm telling you. If they do that. So, it's important. We're going to see what happens. And then again, health obviously is important. Cam's health is in question because he has not been healthy for 1 season yet. Even though he has never played 70 games, 60 games, never started that many games, he was hurt anyway. Last year, he came to the Knicks with a sore ankle. Came to the Knicks with a bum ankle. The year before was his Achilles. There was always something. He's got to stay healthy this year. If he can stay healthy, this is going to be a good season. It's going to be a good season. Okay? It's going to be a good season. If he can stay healthy. If not, we still all right because RJ can slip it, go to the 3, and you can put Grimes there. There's no problem. But Cam is a key. Real key. So for me, this at least gives hope that there's a strong possibility. If he balls out in camp and in the preseason, he not only can be in the rotation, he might be your starting small forward. And that would be a really good thing for the Knicks. Really good. Okay, so I don't know who'd be the odd man out. I'm thinking it's Fournier. But we have to see what happens. And it could possibly be, and this is me speculating, that the Knicks are going to wait to see how everybody looks in camp, to see how the first 2 preseason games go. Because the last 2 preseason games, you're really starting to put your starting 5 for your beginning, your opening night together at that point. Okay. So the first 2 preseason games, we're going to see. I think they want to see what happens with different players, but Cam Reddish among them, to see, what can we trust this guy? What is he going to do? Is Tibbs going to play him? Is he going to start? What's going to happen? Because if he comes in the shape that he's supposed to be in and doesn't get hurt, he's going to show out. And if he does, it's going to be an interesting decision by Tom Thibodeau to what you're going to do with him, because RJ would be a really tough cover at the 2 spot. A really tough cover. He's too strong for most 2. He's too strong. The bully ball will be in effect. He's too strong. Okay. So this is going to be very interesting. But we're going to find out real soon. Camp starts in less than 7 days probably. And then, you're going to get in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from tonight, matter of fact, 2 weeks from tonight is your first preseason game. So, right, it's 2 weeks, October 4th. Hold on, let me just take a look at that, make sure I ain't crazy here. Yep, 2 weeks from yesterday. October 4th is a Tuesday night. Less than 2 weeks, and you got your first preseason game. So, camp starts in about a week. The first night as preseason on October 4th, you're going to see some things. But we're going to see what happens. In the meantime, be safe out there. Enjoy your Wednesday. Shalom.